All right, good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully, on this fine Wednesday morning, everybody's doing good. Voice is still a little bit weird. We'll see. Again, the cough drop and tea remedy seems to be working okay. Um, all right, so let's start with what we the pound data first. So month over month came in exactly as expected. The pound is obviously getting a little bit of strength from it. It was positive. It was negative last time, so that's good. Their core PPI was holding firm, so no major surprises, just strength rolling in. You can see, I guess the biggest again, pound yen 150 is decent. That's a good move for that. But the 34 in the euro pound really shows you and kind of separates it, kind of where it is right now. Pound dollar, euro dollar both up. Obviously, the pound dollar more. You're seeing pound strength, dollar weakness across the board. We got the data. The core PPI data came in. Everybody's seeing this as a massive weakness. Oh my God, it came in so much worse. But I think it's important to really kind of point this out. People are very short-sighted, and again, the Fed is talking about what the pause would look like. Heard a great interview yesterday talking about how there's probably going to be a pause, but then be prepared for Powell to mention, that this is a pause. We're not done hiking. We're going to pause and then probably raise again. Which I think raise pause is better, but I think at this point, it looks like they're going to do the pause and then raise. So yeah, it's again not much different. It's whatever. But I think the important thing to point out and why I keep harping on this is the core number is really what matters the most right now. Um, Core basically excludes food and energy. And we know the start of this entire inflation game right now came out of the energy markets, right? A lot of things that were going on with, blocking Russian oil, trying to keep Russia from doing anything, and not making money off of oil. Um, you know, Food and energy, you may say, well, okay, what is that? Is it a lot? You can see food and energy pricing makes up about 40% of the overall PPI. So we can see that, overall, PPI, yes, it's coming down, but at the same time, remove food and energy from that. And we know what's been happening in energy over there with energy losing some steam, not quite as high as it was. You would expect to see that to fall back down again. So that's kind of what it's doing. So, um, you know, a core, I mean, on an economic level, the core is actually, I don't want to say more important, but it kind of tells us more about, what people are seeing. Obviously, food and energy pricing coming back down again has been great. I think there was an article that said like the price of eggs dropped. Now, again, eggs were, you know, the news headline is the price of eggs dropped the most it has in 20 years or something like that. But at the same time, egg prices were so, this is like, I don't know. You go to the beach, right? And I used to work in one of these stores, so I can tell you the reality of it. You go to the beach, and you go to a jewelry store at the beach, right on the boardwalk. We call it the boardwalk here. I don't know if everybody has boardwalk, but we call it the boardwalk, right? And they have like amazing sales, right? You'll see like it's like 60% off, and then an additional 30 this weekend. I mean that's the sale. It just runs all and you see the prices, and people are like, oh my god, I'm getting 90% off, and it's not 90, it's 60, and then it's 30 off the second one. But at the same time, you got to realize how much it's marked up. And silver was the same way. Silver was even more ridiculous. Um, we would raise everything by 1,000% and then give people like, a 70 and 20, and people are like, oh God, or 70 and 25. And people are like, oh my God, I'm getting it five. We would buy stuff for 60 cents, sell it for $6. And people are like, oh my God, it's a steal. It's like, well, yeah, we marked it up by 10 times. We made 10 times the money on it. Right. And it would just fly out the doors. Right. And that's how they make money. Um, so understand, headlines like that and talking about how it's all coming back down again. It was so grossly overpriced that yes, the data looks great. Yeah, it's down. This is the biggest drop in 40 years. Pat ourselves on the back, right? Well, at the same time, the price was also much higher than it has been. So, yeah, we kind of fool ourselves with it. And that's kind of where we're at right now with it. Unfortunately, too many people are doing that. So, what I think we're going to see is I think we're going to see the hold of 5.25. The question is, has the market already completely factored that in? Um, and I feel like now, I feel like at this point, it can't be much of a surprise. I mean, we've been, everybody's talking about it. The data, has been somewhat negative. Um, you know, it does. Is this going to surprise everybody? Surprise anybody at this point if they hold? Um, I feel like no. Like I feel like it's the exact opposite. When we saw like the raise before and then it was a weak thing, I feel like this is the exact opposite. I feel like all the weakness is going to get baked in. The number's going to come out. It's going to be a strength based move, particularly with Powell saying something along the lines of, this is just a pause. We're not finished. We're going to reevaluate, but we're probably not done. Right? We'll see if it continues to drop, at an accelerated rate or if it slows down. And yeah, I think that's what we're going to see. I think that's what we're going to hear. And people are talking about it. And, again, the market's going to see that lower number and it's going to be an interesting trading opportunity. So, that's kind of where we're at in the next couple hours. And I think we're going to see one move at 2 and one move at 2:30 when Powell talks. And then we have New Zealand coming in. Then we have Aussie data tonight. Remember, Aussie surprised, Canada surprised. Actually, the gentleman yesterday was like, could we see a U.S. surprise, coming down the road? Sure, absolutely. Again, Powell tries to keep things fair balanced. And if there's a pause, I think Powell will probably say, this is a pause. It doesn't mean that we are finished. So please don't think that. And that also the market's like, oh, we're raising again. And I think that's what's going to happen. So we'll see. But right now you can see, again, besides the pound movers on the board, 11, not really a huge number. 33, not really big. 73 in the Swiss is big, and we knew we were already high. We're just looking for a way to get into that one. CAD 45, not that much. And even the Aussie dollar at 43, or at, I'm sorry, 38. It's not a massive number, right? It's not huge, right? It's not one of those big numbers where you're like, oh, right? Not outside of a daily ATAR. It's just considered a normal move in 24 hours. So we'll see where that goes and if it accelerates later on today when we get more of the actual gold data, gold movement coming in. All right. So if that wasn't enough, then we go into tomorrow morning. And tomorrow morning we have retail sales. Are the spenders spending? What are the unemployment claims looking like? What does retail sales look like? It's expected to go down, which again is not great, as well as the euro is expected to raise. So, although the US has been kind of on a track and the euro has been behind, it looks like the euro is going to finally, kind of put their bump in. Remember, we had an Aussie surprise. We had a Canadian surprise. Now it's not a surprise that, euro is basically expected to raise. So the surprise there would be that they, are not. And I actually expect this one to go through. I don't think this will necessarily be a surprise, but I'm curious to see, not this time, what's going to happen the time after that. Okay. But after that, again, retail sales is a big number. Empire State Manufacturing, it's been crappy. It looks like it's going to be crappy again. We'll see if it's more crappy or less crappy. 31's a big number, so I'd expect it to be better. Retail sales on a monthly basis, again, it was, decent last time, showing down this time, right? But the forecast was 8. It was expected to be really positive last time, and it wasn't as good. So this time is expected to be negative. We'll see where it comes in at. And again, press conference. Industrial production, we'll see. Again, it's not negative, but it's there. And then again, some type of monetary policy statement. BOJ isn't raising. I don't think BOJ raises. I think for them, it's not so much about the interest rate because it's not going to make that much of a difference. I think they'll just, they'll do the intervention. Do some, release money, something in the supply, versus messing with their interest rate. I don't think they're at that stage yet. Again, they're gonna if they raise it 0.25, they're still gonna be the lowest. It doesn't really affect them too much. There's not gonna be any huge draw there because it's still lower than everybody else, if that makes sense. Okay. Again, remember, you raise interest rates so people can gain money, right? By putting money over there, right? You loan money, you get it at 4%. Here, even if you take it at 0.25, you're not getting anything. It'd be better to put your money over here. It'd still be much, much cheaper to borrow from yen and put it over in their bank, in a euro bank. Okay. All right, let's go here and let's look at the VIX. So VIX is slightly higher. And it's kind of where we closed. I mean, we're up 0.05, up 3-4%. Nothing crazy. We had the big drop yesterday and then just kind of sideways basing. It's popped back up from its lows. I think after Powell speaks today, I think is where we start to see it coming back down again. Obviously, there's a lot of anticipation of what Powell could say. And that has people anxious, you know. And like I said, at this point, I would, although I think it's the right thing to do, I think what's going to happen is they're going to pause, but say that they're not done. Is what I think is going to happen at this point. So we'll see. We'll see. And again, look, you can see U.S. stocks futures muted after PPI. It's like, yeah. Because remember, if the data is not great, we don't need to raise. It also means the economy is not great either, right? That's why they're not raising it still, because we know inflation's not there. So there's that. The Dixie obviously took a big drop. Yesterday we talked about a level in here somewhere around 130, or I'm sorry, 103.30, and you can see it kind of came in there, and then we kind of started chopping back and forth, looking for some type of a decent base, and it just went through. And again, it dropped. That PPI is there. All this dollar weakness coming in again is really kind of setting that up for what we mentioned earlier. With a big drop down, question is the move already in? Can it drop this far and then drop again at 2 o'clock, or will it drop down and when the news comes out and everybody tries to short it, that's when it takes off to stop people out? It's kind of looking like that could be the potential move on this one. So you know, considering all things said, it's only down 0.5%. It's not really that much considering, right? But it is a decent amount, and you can see all that really started right here at that 2 o'clock, 2:30 time frame. So the Europeans have just said, okay, we know what's happening, and they're sending it back down. Can we see something lower? I mean, unless they cut the interest rate, I feel like at this point, a lot of the move is in. I mean, we've gone from 103.40 down to 102, 102.80. So 80-cent move just in the European session. Daily, it typically moves about 60 cents. So we're like 1.5 times already. Tends to be when you see reversal. So just keep an eye on that. Now, indices, yes, indices are very, very muted. ES basically flat 0.15 up, NQ 0.06, Dow down. Russell is up. And again, remember, Russell is the most sensitive to interest rate type scenarios. Not raising interest rate, that's good. That means it's not going to get harder for small businesses. So the Russell tends to do well. And it is up 0.15. I'm sorry, 1.55. So a decent move right now inside of the Russell. And again, it is always obviously the most sensitive. I would say on this one, watch it. If it's up this much now, and Powell says we're going to raise, like we're gonna take a pause, but most likely we'll raise 0.25 next time. You should see the response in the Russell go straight back down again. It just tends to be how it works. Commodities, obviously dollar down. Commodities tend to be up. Oil 70.38. Again, up 1.38. Yeah, interesting. I guess yesterday or sometime in the last day or two, I saw the news article come out today. Pakistan, actually, Pakistan made their first payment to Russia for oil in Chinese currency. So again, they're still working on that BRICS currency, but right now they are using Chinese currency to settle their oil payments instead of US dollar. So yeah, I don't know if it's going to be more of a future BRICS currency or if they'll just try to adopt the Chinese currency as the preferred. But yeah, they have officially made payments with oil international settlement market and completely bypass the dollar. They use the Chinese currency. So yeah, they're serious about it. But up over 70. So again, what you typically want to see. Natural gas 235. Again, higher than what I think it deserves to be, but obviously pressure there. Obviously pressure there. Gold up 0.67, but is it really that high? It's at 1965. It's not blowing through 2000 yet. And silver, I mean, silver's up 1.57, but it's below 24. So keep that in mind that you have these these drops, but then you have the pullbacks, right? Kind of gold looks like kind of the same thing. The drop and then the pullback, and now with a parabolic move up, it's like, do we just see it deteriorate back down again, right? So could be interesting. Aussie. So the Aussie yesterday, looks like that 9 o'clock spike yesterday was the top. It came back down, found buyers, and has kind of used that same level a few times now. European session, again, straight up in the air. So we've talked about this being a large area. We found it on the 4 hour yesterday. It's an area where we're really looking for a top, especially after this another burst at news. I mean, we had the European move up, and then we had kind of a pullback. U.S. news shot higher. Question is, how much higher can this go? And again, when news comes in, you can see that we have all this news coming in right here, economic projections. Question is, what happens? With it being very, very high in the curve, it's typically set up for more of a short trade. I don't know what the short trade looks like yet. We have to go through the next couple hours, but I think at 130 ish, kind of see where this thing is trending. If it's trending back down again, it's reloading. Maybe it comes back down into kind of this territory. If it pulls back down from now till then, kind of reloading the barrel, the gun over here, this could be another little pop higher. But if it maintains and stays high and kind of pulls down, but then in the last half hour starts pulling up again, that's kind of signifying a down. And again, what that would look like is if we kind of push up this way, right? And then we kind of cycle back down, and then at like 1 o'clock, we start to push back up. 1:30, we push up, and we're sitting right there, right? If we're sitting right there when news comes out, that tends to look more like the reversal. And we see a big push back down again. So, just keep an eye on that. And like I said, I don't know where it's going to be. Maybe it's there. I drew it too big, unfortunately. I don't think I can shrink it. I can move it, but I can't shrink it. And I was like, oh, maybe I could do this, right? Where's 2 o'clock? 2 o'clock's bigger. So I need to do something along those lines, right? As it pulls back. Okay. And then you see the push back down, and most likely the profit target would be down here. And that would be like a 35 or 40 pip move. Okay. Again, I think if they pause, I think the market does moves a little bit, kind of gets confused, and then when Powell speaks and says, "Yeah, we're not done. We're just pausing one time," that's when it shoots to the downside. Because I think the market truly believes this is it. They're not raising any more interest rates. They're completely done. So yeah, right now we don't have the top. Look for the top. But again, I think it's going to be a decent news trade setup today. Aussie yen, Aussie yen slowing. You can see that it came back and it kind of used that level, right? We talked about a level being high, and again, unfortunately, the news kind of shattered it both directions, and it kind of hit and came back down, and then we've gone pop, 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 right? Um, I would say a lot of the momentum is out of this. Are we going to see a complete yen reversal right now? Not yet, not yet, but again, depending on the language today, maybe we can get a little bit out of it. They're all basically the same. They're all kind of slowing, right? The push is slowing down, but is it done? Not really. Right? It's not quite done yet. Right? Not quite done yet. Um, do we have a top to sell off of? I still think 95.45 is the way to go. Right now, it's still about 44 pips away. Could we get there today on a spike? I think so. Um, I think the spike could happen. It would not actually be a horrible spike. Again, that would be a gold strength spike and a little bit of yen weakness and then turning back down again. We could get that potentially. We could get that potentially. But again, I'd really like to see some type of a top. Again, this could run in the sellers right now, but problem is we're so far back and we know we don't have anything higher time frame until all the way up here. So again, kind of need a little bit more movement, right? Again, in 24 hours, 20 pips, right? Not really that much. So looking for a bit more. Euro. All right, so Euro, again, pretty easy, right? There's where the European session has started. Since the European market opened, we're at 71. This is a 68 daily ATR. Okay. We talked about this here, right? We left this here. We didn't move this one over because he said, hey, listen, we're getting out. CPI data's come and get out. And you can see it ended up pushing back down again. It didn't go all the way down to the profit target. We were looking for the bottom to be here. It got really close, though, as it continued to go lower. If you were trailing this one, you would have got out probably in here if you had taken it short again. When it broke through, if you had taken it short. So we'll remove it just so we don't confuse people. I want to adjust the fibs up on this one. And you can see right now, the 23.6, I'll move it over here. Right now, the 23.6 happens to be in the same level. So I like that. I don't like it as much for a pullback. It could be if we get a spike down, spike back up again. I'd like to find a top. So we can remove this one now. We don't need this. Three, three. Let's bring this across. All right. So, um, could potentially have a reversal coming in right now. This is not the greatest zone ever, right? It's formation, right? It's a pullback level, right? It's been there, but it's been here before, right? It's a decent base and a drop. Wasn't super explosive. The only reason I have it marked off right now is because we have had such a news push up again. We're likely to see profit taking in again. One, two, we tend to see it. I don't know if we can hold there for this entire time. Um, See, this one's line. They're all the same right now. 68, 24. I like this one short later. I'm just trying to figure out which zone I like it off of. It's very possible that we're going to have a short come out of this one right now. And the reason why I say that again is because there is a zone there. It's been there before. We've had such a big push up again. You're going to see profit taking coming. It doesn't even need to go all the way back down to where the base was. So it's nothing super crazy. It also happens to be the 23.6. So as it pulls back down again, people are going to be looking and putting buy orders down here, which should help suck it down a little bit as well. Um, so I think there's that going on right now for this one. Either, again, looking for the spike at 2 o'clock. If we do get an upward spike at 2 o'clock, looking for a parabolic retracement move. Again, I think Powell is really going to send dollar strength back into the market. I think 109.05. Let's change this to 109.05. I think that's probably a decent level as well as that. I think either two of those are totally fine. Um, it's just getting to those two levels. We got to get through this 10:30 reversal time frame. Trying to see if we were getting any other comments. No, not right now. So yeah, we need to see the reversal. Like I said, I do believe this is a potential right here. It's a little bit early. If it was like 9:15, 9:20, I'd like it a lot better. If you get a red, green, red, again, look for this one to push back down. You know what? I'll just take this one. And overall profit taking should come in at 108.08. And again, that's right before the 23.6 pullback. Again, a pullback down, a launch high. Who knows? Maybe we'll turn the reverse all the way down. It'll take off with the news, and then 2:30 will push back down. So maybe make it kind of like an inverted Harry Potter move on it. But I think it's pretty decent. If we can just go straight up, and again, we're sitting up here for news, then yeah, I think there's a sell there, sell there. If you're not taking an option, it's not the worst thing in the world to do. Okay. Euro pound. All right, so Euro pound stabilizing. We hit the profit target yesterday. We are talking about 85.48. It was the base of the bottom. Not anything we want to take a long off of, but we expected it to come down there. We were sitting here and it did. It kind of came down and it finally went through this morning at about 4:35 o'clock. And we're just basing in it right now. We do have another top profit target lower. I think right now, after the US data comes out, this would be an interesting one to look at, particularly in the overnight, because we know that they are going to be raising interest rates, right? Where that's the expectation, they're going to raise interest rates. Now, in regard to that, we kind of mentioned earlier, if the expectation is that they are going to raise, you would tend to see the European strength come in before the move because that's the expectation. The market will prepare for it ahead of time. And then when it comes in, we should see European weakness. I know that kind of goes against what everybody believes, but remember, the market is looking to take money from people that aren't up on, the idea that the market will actually prepare itself ahead of time and already price the data in. When I say prepare, I mean price the data in. Is kind of what I'm saying. The market will price the data in. Pricing the data in should take this higher, right? Should take this higher. The question is, where does it go for that news, right? Um, there's the interest rate right there. So let's take this. Let's put this right here. Ideally, could we go that far? Oh, it's only 32 pips. It's not bad. It's a very small zone. It's only like 8. 3 is right there. So we're not even going back down the other move. Yeah, so that's kind of all I got. Let it run up there. Let it turn and roll. Euro yen. All right. So Euro yen, we talked about 101.49 or 101.39. You can see how close we got. It came to we said, oh, that's weird. Hmm. The days range is 101.39. Oh, 39.8 is right there. I was like, wait a second. What the heck? Um, this went to 37.7, actually 38.1, and we called for 39. So I missed it by a pip. So it did roll back from that level. Again, much larger time frame, much larger zone at this point. Where we are right now, again, peak very, very high. This one is actually sitting in kind of a more near term zone. It did go slightly higher, but again, you're thinking this one should be more bearish. Could we get the proxy play coming in? Sure, we could. And again, could this be that in this in this pair that the market has already factored in the yen, or I'm sorry, the euro interest rate change? Um, could could the proxy take this one over very very quickly? Yeah, it could absolutely. I think there's probably a pretty high chance of that. Um, Again, this would be the yen. It would be the yen kind of pulling it back down again. Now, is the euro yen the best one to play today for non-farm or for interest rate hike or for FOMC? Not really. Again, I think euro dollar is probably better. Maybe even pound, right? Maybe pound. I think euro strength's coming in. I think pound will be getting weaker. So I think pound is probably the better one to play it with. But I don't think euro yen is going to be the best way to play it. But we are high. Again, I can bring this up if you want. You can see that 23 is not really anywhere. Well, we probably hit the 23 on that one. Yeah, we did. So I'd say bearish thinking on this one as far as the setup goes. I don't really love a whole lot. A lot of wicks back and forth, particularly with the interest rate change tomorrow morning. Um, Again, for this, it's expected to go. I'd look for weakness, right? So being high, being up here, I'm expecting the weakness. I just want to get through FOMC before I try to put this on because of the end. Pound dollar. All right, so pound dollar. We talked about a reversal, and it didn't really reverse. Again, we got a little bit of a pullback, but it wasn't huge. It kind of came to here, right? It extended higher, came back, grabbed the 23, and then pushed, and then kind of just went through. It's now extended all the way past, and you can see if we bring it all the way up, there is basing down here. This looks very, very similar to what we had inside of the euro. If we turn and roll back down again, could this be a long trade for FOMC time? It could, right? Actually, I'll stick it. I'm gonna put it right here in the middle. What is that? That's retail sales tomorrow. Yeah. How much does this one have to drop? 44, kind of a lot. Eh, we could potentially move that much. Right. We could potentially move that much. I like that it's a 23. Again, if this is the top and we start rolling back down again, I think that's great. Kind of the same thinking as I mentioned before. Again, I do like the top of this one. So if this one pulls down and then we kind of pull up for that news meeting. Oops. Can I take just one off? No, I got to do the whole thing. Right. Down, up, down. Okay. Uh, could potentially look like that. And it may go past, but if we get some basing in there, again, I think that could be a decent point. If it pushes all the way down, then yes, I like this for a long. If it's driving down, obviously it's going to profit target first. We need a confirmation, take a number 3 on the way out. All right. Pound yen. All right. So pound yen, again, peak high. You can see we didn't hold. I will say right now, though, there is a racetrack right there. We'll throw a short position on there. A 1 to 3 is only right there. Bad. I'm going to throw an alert on this one. And again, I don't know when. I just know that we had such a huge racetrack here, and now we've hit it. We've hit it lower, so we're literally coming back down again. There shouldn't be many buyers left. We should be able to base, punch through, pull back, and then look for a drop to the downside. 16 pips risk, 49 pips profit. So again, not horrible on that one. Dollar CAD. I got pretty close. I talked about it kind of bouncing back and forth, and it went higher, and it came down, and then came up, and then went down, and then came up. That's pretty good. That's not bad, guys. That is really not bad at all, right? And I said it would be down here. So how many more pips does it need to move? Only 30 pips. Can we move 30 pips in 4 hours? Sure. That's a 27 pip, 4 hour ATR. So pretty close. I got pretty close, right? I missed this one. I missed the one pullback. So it started here, right? Went up, went down, went up, went down. So that's pretty good. I got to say, that's pretty good. So, and even, look, even got the bottom down here. So not bad. So we'll see. This one's still kind of falling. Again, watch this one for an hour and a half before the news comes out. And again, with it driving straight down right now, again, some of this is oil. Again, there's a potential in here that this could be a nice little pop to the top side. But look at that. That's pretty good. Pretty happy with that. We talked about the same level here, and that's what it did. So, yeah. Look for a dig out, and I'd like to get long this one if this continues to go lower. I'd like to get long for FOMC. Dollar Swiss. Now, Dollar Swiss is definitely falling through. We had a little Harry Potter here, and yeah, this one sucks. There was a base, right? It based on top, which is typically a telltale sign it's going to break. It never really gave us a pullback to it, and now it's all the way back down again. So it sucks. We called for it, and typically, again, when you're seeing a base right on the top of that line, I mean, once it goes through, it goes, which is unfortunate. This was like 8 for like 25. It's moved beyond that right now. We were calling for it, right? We were calling for it. We were like, yeah, break it and go. We loved how it pushed here, and once it based here, it's like, yep. It just, if you didn't jump on board when it broke through the bottom here, it unfortunately just went all the way, right? So you missed out on that one probably. We'll pull it off now. Let's see. Do I want this whole thing? Right, junk right now. Eh. Only got 19 pips to go. I would say watch this one as well. Watch to see again. So much weakness. Again, it started. Yep, 2 o'clock this morning. Europeans have drove this one 88 pips, right? It's got a 70 pip daily ATR. So if we push back down to the 89.56, I think this could be a decent thing. Unfortunately, this has been, we're not selling after a large run in price. There is a lot of stuff around 50, but I think it comes down and probably bounces off this level. So again, potential long right now, obviously. No trade setup. There are buyers in here, so maybe we pull back a little bit, right? Maybe. But unfortunately, the only decent pullback would be 57 pips higher. Are we going to raise 57 pips from now till then? No. Could we be somewhere in here and could we see this? Could we see that? Yeah. Right. We could see that potentially. Right. Again, that would be dollar strength coming out of the top because again, they pause and everybody thinks they. I mean, again, pause and everybody shorts a dollar and this thing takes off. Or maybe it does nothing. Pal speaks and he's the one that pops it, and then it turns and rolls back down again. But I think there's a high potential of a big pop on this one. So again, 89.56. It's the only thing we got. It's bringing it all the way back down again. Probably only B base level. But right now, there's nothing that I'd be interested in until this level right here at 90.27. Okay. There we go. Yeah. So we had to adjust this one slightly, right? Unfortunately, we were looking for the break, and it did. And again, this is not a Harry Potter entry. It did pull back up again, but unfortunately, if this is where your base is up top, right? If that's where your base was, you can see unless you took the whole candle there, which is, You could. You could have. It's stretching it a little bit. Um, you know, that's what it would have looked like. Well, not entering there, but like entering right there. You would have missed it by a little bit. So again, we were looking for the base, looking for the break, looking for the push back down again. It did what we expected. It gave us the base and the pullback. It just didn't give us enough of. I mean, I guess there. That's the most near term of the base. But again, in, out, not an entry. In, it did base for one candle and go back up again. So maybe you caught this one, but you can see it did go the full 1 to 3 to the downside. Again, a little bit trickier in this one. We were talking about getting short. You may have actually taken this one short from the top side. You had a decent base right there, and it did come up in touch. Again, this is a touching right there is a European session open. And again, dollar weakness we're seeing across the board. That's where the European session open. It looks like all the other charts. The difference was this was in a kind of an area of sellers, right? We had a supply zone here with highs and then lower highs and then lower highs and then a pop out, and we were pulling back up to it. The pattern that I just drew for you guys, right? Right. The push down, the pull back up, and then that's where we take off, right? And that's what it did, right? Down, up, and push lower. Okay, right there. Okay, we'll see that. So right now, again, driving this one down. See the issue I have with this one right now is I feel like the news today, again, I feel like the yen has the potential to get some strength based out of this move. Um, just basically where it is. And this one is going to be like, I don't even know if it's moved too much. Um, I feel like we could potentially have dollar strength and yen strength rolling in based off of what Powell says. Um, so I think this one's going to be a hard one with the proxy and the dollar. So, but we'll see. Maybe he says something absolutely shocking, but it's Powell, so I highly doubt it. Um, Powell tends not to be that type. He's not that guy. He's not that guy. TLT. So again, I'm going to look at bonds real quick. Again, this is a 20-year Treasury. You can see bonds right now are not having as much movement as the overall dollar. The bond market has not been tricked as much as everybody else has. When I say tricked, obviously, the stock market has had their varying opinions. So yeah, um, it's not moving a lot in any direction that I would say that it's kind of giving us a telltale sign yet. A lot of times it will. A lot of times it will. It's not right now. I would say that it's more sideways right now than anything else. It's almost kind of like the bond market is trying to figure out, you know, I think they are. I think the bond market already has it all factored in. So I don't think that the change moves the bond market around. Um, I'm trying to figure out. I don't even think, even if Pal says, hey, we're pausing, we're not done, I don't think this really moves that much. I think maybe we get a spike up, maybe up into this 102 range, and then we get a spike back down again. But right now, and again, bonds is not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm thinking right now, like this is kind of our top and bottom side, and we're kind of just skirting down the middle. I don't think we clear much over 102.77, and I don't think we get below 100 or 100 and what 80 for bonds. So not really giving us a whole lot here. Even cryptos, Bitcoin is hovering at 26. It's up zero point 0.3 and Ethereum is up 0.15, right? They got all their own problems right now, right? They got all their own problems, but I mean, I don't know. Not like they're surging, right? They're not surging, showing us that there's massive like flight out of the dollar, right? So again, you would assume with all the other dollar weakness, these would be up a whole heck of a lot more, and the reality is they're not. So I think they have other problems coming in. There we go with oil. So oil, we talked about 70 being a big deal, having a level here. It ended up punching just a little bit higher than it used it this morning. And again, 5:30 in the morning is not necessarily the best time with the U.S. session coming on board, but we are sitting up here at 70. We talked about a potential roll from this level, and I would say the same thing. I think that there is. Obviously, there's inventory this morning. Let's see. It's out of service. I love when they do that. It's like, nah, it's broken. We done broke to this stuff. Expect to be a little bit of a downdraw. Let's see. API report. Yeah, a slight build. Forecast was it was going to be down a little bit. It was a slight build. nothing earth shattering. Not when we have FOMC playing with rates today. So, um, again, I'd say right now where we are, if we've stomached the U.S. charge, it looks like we're going to be pushing back to the downside. And again, I would say the same thing. For me, profit taking, I was going to say, is probably coming in right around that level. Um, yeah, probably not bad. Yeah, I would say, yeah, I like the short here at 70. Um, I don't know. I don't know that Pal can say much more to really send this thing higher unless he's like, we're going to fill the strategic oil reserve right now because it's cheap at 70. I mean, unless he says something like that, I don't think this one goes much higher right now. Not after today. Natural gas, nice little pop up at what, 6 and pulling back down again. We were talking about 241. It made it to 239. I missed it by a little bit. Not really a strong move either way. I mean, again, we're getting these pops higher. Where we are right now, we do have a red, green, and a red. Closes at 13 minutes. It looks like we'll pull back down again, but there is demand coming in here at 231. Um, eh, I would say be cautious with this one today. I think oil's fine. Natural gas be a little bit, it's a little sketchier. I'm not super concerned about it. I don't think this one gives us the best opportunity with this news as big as we have, so we'll skip it. Gold, again, gold had a nice pop, a little bit of a pullback with profit taking going higher. Again, we're at not quite at 1960, but we're getting pretty close. We're still kind of basically in the same range, right? We pop down, we pop back up, we kind of pop down, we pop back up, we pop back down again in the same level, and now we're popping back up again. The question is, can we get up to this 1970 and then turn and kind of smash down again? I don't think we hit 1979. Maybe the news comes out and it pops higher. The gold market should have this factored in already, but maybe not. I mean, it's up zero point 0.8, which is decent. Silver's doing what it should at double at 0.77. I think the more this climbs, the better off it is. And it may not even be for news. Maybe we get another spike after news. Um, but again, we know that inflation is still too high. They're still working on it. And a comment about how, I mean, I think a comment which everybody seems to be talking about that they're going to pause, but then they're going to say we're not done. We're probably raising. We're going to leave the door open for more raises in the future if inflation isn't back down next meeting. Um, Again, the goal is killing inflation, so this should have a hard time kind of punching through. So maybe we play the reversal. Maybe we look for the immediate pop and then the turn down again. But honestly, I won't be surprised if this one kind of shoots to the downside pretty quickly. So, especially with it rallying. Silver, again, playing with 24, right? We came back down. We talked about 23.75 being a target. About noon yesterday, we kind of we started to base along it. And I ended up going through, grabbing some of those orders just a bit lower, and then rallying back up again. We're right around 45. I think the same thing here if I kind of shrink this down. You can see the writings on the wall, right? This is kind of a hard little peak at the top. And then we have kind of an area of buyers down here at 23.45. Um, for this one, I think play the reverse, right? Look for, and again, with it driving higher, it's kind of setting up more for the short. But just to be on the safe side, wait for a spike down or up. And again, on a technical level, with it driving higher, this should be shooting to the downside. But if we get a big pop straight up again, if it runs into any of these levels up here, look for a quick turn and roll back to the downside. This should be an easy parabolic move. Again, silver is much more easily manipulated than a gold and some of the other things out there. So I think this is a good one to be able to take. Okay. Um, all right, let's look at what's Apple doing. Apple, the big spike down to nothing. Apple, Tesla. Ooh, Tesla may put a top in. All right, so VIX again pulling back down again. Some of that news is out. Dollar again have not found the bottom. It's not 1030 yet. We should be getting close to it though. There's an old level of buyers sitting right here. You can see these buyers at 1030. The question is, do we reverse or literally are we just setting this up for a straight down and then a pop? So let's look at the ES and see if there's much. There's a push down. Yeah, 930 was there. What time is this? Late last night. Oh, 3:15. So there actually was one here. Okay, I was wrong. I was like, nah, I think it's too late night, but it was. It was 3. So yeah, so there's your pop. Right. There's your only basing. After this pop up, there was your base. There was your confirmation. It's okay. It's not. I wouldn't say that this was my favorite of trades. Um, Three's there. There was another one lower. A little bit harder to do though. It would have been there. Yeah, the top of that one. I don't know. that one hit too. So either one would have hit. You would have been fine either way. So again, very, very quickly, 2 candles out, 30 minutes, you're done. Pull back into the overnight. And again, whether you use this one or if we said, it's hit a couple times, I'm going to go lower and use that as the confirmation. Um, Either one, you were good either way. You can see that both of them hit. And again, that's the 930 candle. So literally 930 came down and grabbed it. So full opening print. NQ. See, this one's weird because there's a basing level here, but no touch of it at all, right? And again, this went lower, so there's no. I guess you could have potentially done this one right here. That's 915, so it drove down. So maybe you got stopped out on this one. So maybe you were 1 to 3 on that one, and you got stopped out on this, which sucks because what did it do? It went right out of that zone. It just whipped everybody out first, and then went higher. So it happens. I mean, it happens. You were sitting in that level. The confirmation was here at 9. Typically, we want the overnight confirmation, not the 9. But again, had you traded this one, hey, it's going to happen. So you were +3 there, -1 here. You're still at +2. Had you taken this with an options product, nice move. Nice move to the top side. So not too bad. YM. 6, 730, 830, 915. Yeah, this one was downtrend. Unfortunately, the confirmation test was up here, right? If you're looking up, that's where your test was. So 830. Yeah, unfortunately, no, nothing on YM. It was too far away. It was not. There was nothing on the bottom, right? Because it had already hit here, and then again, your 845 hit it again. So this was actually hit number 4 at 9, and then 915 shot it down, and 930 is actually this red candle. So nope, nothing in that one. And then Russell. Look, Russell was up 1.7. Now it's people are changing their minds. 815, 930 is here. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. For me, it's kind of like, hey, listen, there's a nice big gap up, and you were sitting right on that gap. It's kind of like, did it have an explosive move out of that level? Not really. If anything, I'd be looking for the Harry Potter break. Russell, I'm wondering if we're gonna get all the way back down to here. 1902. God, can we touch 19? Oof. Where's 19 sitting? Yeah, I think 19's on the board today for the Russell. I hate to say that, but there's not. I mean, we can't really do anything with the overnight. Obviously, the gap up, right? It's the well, it's not really the gap up. It's the contract switch. Again, these are the dumbest things ever. Yeah, I feel like yeah. I feel like 1902. I feel like we could have a again that would take it not quite negative for the day. It would still remain positive, but yeah, it looks like yeah, we could get a spike down on this one. So yeah, so it looks like opening print wise, ES obviously 100% successful. This one, unfortunately, it's much higher. But if you did it with options, you're good to go. You were protected here. But on the downside of things, obviously it hurt a little bit. You took a little bit of pain, right? Maybe and again the confirmation would have been right there with a double bottom, which is not necessarily the best. There was another zone here, right? But unfortunately, this one is kind of like, we kind of got front run on it. So you would have taken less loss when it came down and would have been bigger profit on the top side. But yeah, most likely you took a little bit of a loss. And again, it happens. So +3, -1, +2 for the day. No entry here. It already moved way too much. It never pulled back. And Russell, again, with the punching down that low. I mean, if anything, you were looking for a short. Right, we opened here. Unfortunately, there's no confirmed zone because this is the high point. So there's no touch. So yeah, I just say 1902 is kind of where the target is. So all right, let's check oil real quick. Yeah, oil's starting to. I'm wondering if that was the trade right there, the 915. I mean, ideally this is your zone right here, but it's pushed same exact bottom. Right, you got this to this. Yeah, I don't. We're at 10:26, and we've had the only pause we had here was at 10 o'clock. Right, bouncing off these buyers. So there's no pause yet. So yeah, doesn't look like many eyes are on crude today. So yeah, I'd say crude to the downside. All right, let's go do our drawing for the day. All right, what do we got here? Marina, Debbie, Neuro, Will give equal love all the way around, and I'll go ahead and give it to 2:30. Telling you, something to be said about like lemon and honey. Between cough drops and tea, I'm gonna turn into a lemon. Hopefully, I'm sure somebody's like, "Oh, you're toxifying your body." Lemon, it's citrus, right? It's citrus. All right, there's 2:30. Let's close it down. I missed it by 2 seconds. My bad. Talking about my tea again. All right, winner of today's drawing is Ernest. I didn't even say Ernest's name. Just hey, I just want to let you guys know for the record. I said Marina. I said Debbie. I said Neuro. I said Will. I did not say Ernest. I assumed he would snipe it at the end, and he did. And then looks like he bought 3. Yeah, he paid enough to win. He did. Right? He did. But remember, Neuro, mark this one as complete. Right? Go back to giveaways. Right? There was Debbie 2 days ago. Ernest got the 50 chips yesterday, so he had some dealer's money. And then today, he gets the 100. And now tomorrow, he goes in with the biggie. Right? He goes in with the biggie tomorrow. I think he's still positive on the whole transaction. Right? Because he would have spent 70 tips today, so we got 30. So yeah, he's up plus 40 so far. So if he gets 5 tickets tomorrow, if he does 5 tickets tomorrow, he's basically, again, it's costing him 0 so far in this run, right? So yeah, he's going because it's if he wins, it's 250, right? So if he does 10 tickets tomorrow, technically he's only got 50 pip chips on the line, risking 50 to make 250. Decent risk to reward ratio, right? Decent risk to reward ratio. So, all right, with that, I'm out of here. As I said, we got a lot coming in the next 24 hours. Right. FOMC, like I said, I think this will actually be a dollar strength based move because it's already factored in. Everybody expects it to be nothing, and everybody that says, "Oh my God, we paused, sell the dollar," there'll be somebody over there with big money trying to take the opposite side of that trade. And I think Powell's going to tell us, "Hey, we're not done, guys. We just paused for once, but it doesn't mean that we're done. If we don't see substantial movement, we will continue to raise again." And like I said, other countries have paused and then had to come back and start raising again. So it's not an uncommon scenario across the world with economies that are not as robust as ours. So, all right. With that said, I'm out of here. I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. I have a game tonight, 9 o'clock. Hopefully, I don't die. We are playing, I think, the team that won the upper division, the higher skill division than us. So, yeah, this is like my least favorite team that we play ever. So, gonna be fun. Gonna be fun. So, wish me luck, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning. Have a good one. Take care.